stations, or with this nonprofit organization, or with this local business. So hopefully you got a little bit of guidance like that. If you are looking for the media list for your area, send me an email. I don't have them all perfect, and I admit I don't have the latest and greatest, but I do have quite an extensive list, and it would definitely be a great starting point. But if you're looking for the latest and greatest, you can totally even bypass me and just contact UMCOM or umc.org, either one, by going into the InfoServe, which is like the ask a question thing. You can ask them for your media list for your area. I have one for all of Desert Southwest Conference, and then it just takes me a couple days to go through it, to sort it out and clean it up. So it's the information for your specific area. That's important because, you know, reporters are getting requests for publicity all the time, tons of stuff in their email. And if we were, let's say I gave you the media list for all of the United States. I mean, is somebody really going to come out from New York to attend, you know, or whatever? So we try to hone it into your specific area so you have the best chance of reaching the people that would find your information interesting or relevant. So FYI, if you didn't know, email communications@dscumc.org and just ask for a media list and I'll send it to you. And actually, possibly, maybe even your pastor or somebody else at your church already has one, because we have sent it out to quite a few groups. I'd love to send it out to every single church all at once. I just, like I said, I haven't done that work to sort it out for each region, but if it's needed, I'll send it out ASAP to those specific churches that request it. All right, so today, that's kind of a cool little tooltip that is available to all Desert Southwest Conference churches, all United Methodist churches really, but that I'll process it is available to Desert Southwest Conference churches. And it's free of charge. There's no extra fees or anything. Have any of you here heard of TechSoup? I know David has. Yep. That's a pretty great organization. It's actually, David knows about it. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what TechSoup does?
Certainly. So I would call it like a repository, place where stuff for nonprofits, including churches, is available. And membership is free. It's one of those things where you just sign in with your email address, and then you associate your personal login with your organization. So that's important, is that you authorize the church. What's nice is I think UMCOM or GCFA or somebody went to the trouble of telling TechSoup about like all the churches. So I think authenticating is easier than it used to be. You typically don't have to like upload all your own nonprofit papers and jump through hoops. Anyway, it has lots of cool stuff, mostly online services that are either deeply discounted or sometimes virtually free. Some of the other free online nonprofit services like Microsoft and Google have now partnered with TechSoup. So it's turned it into more of a one-stop shop. So like if I needed to find out how do I get free Google Cloud services for my church, you can do that through TechSoup now, and other things. Now, some of the great deals, just examples of bargains real quick. For example, let's say you wanted to work on PDF files a lot and you didn't want to pay Adobe the monthly Creative Cloud, you know, it can get a little pricey. Let's say all you wanted was a nice, good, powerful copy of the good old Adobe Acrobat, which allows you full editing. It's like, I don't know, $70 or something like that, instead of hundreds and hundreds of dollars. The Microsoft Office suites can be had if you're not in like Office 365, if you're not on a subscription or Microsoft 365, they have the downloadable versions for maybe $25 a license, so it's a steal. And they have other stuff. They have hotspots you can buy if you, let's say your church has some Wi-Fi issues and you want to try to do something about that, or if your pastor is goes around to different places and needs to take their internet with them, you could get a standalone hotspot, which is only $15 fee and $10 a month for unlimited internet service on the hotspot. And there's just lots of more. There's QuickBooks Online. There's gently refurbished hardware like used laptops. They also connect you with discounts for all sorts of other hardware like Dell, HP, Lenovo, those sort of things. So lots and lots of stuff. I recommend it to all churches that they get a membership for TechSoup. So
thanks, David. Does anybody know anything else about TechSoup that David didn't mention? He did a great, thorough explanation of it. If nothing else, you get discounts out of it. It's incredible. Does anybody use it for anything else?
David, could you give us the URL for that again? Is it TechSoup?
Tech, like TECH, TechSoup.org.
Okay.
It's not they're not a .com, but I bet if you just Google it, but TechSoup.org.
Okay, thanks, David.
You're welcome.
I'm going to share my screen real quick so you guys can see. So in addition to all those great nonprofit discounts, access to them, this is the TechSoup.org website. They also have a lot of really good, insightful articles that are great for our churches. One of them, I know right now, Thursday we've got the debates coming up, sorry. And so it would make sense for churches to talk about whatever issues. So if you're not sure, I'm sure you've heard like, hey, churches should stay out of it, don't talk about it, whatever. That's not exactly true. You can't endorse one candidate or another, but you can talk about the issues that are relevant to your church that you are already talking about. So you don't necessarily have to not talk about it. So here's one article, and I'll send you guys the link to this one, but it is, like I said, available on TechSoup.org. I thought of sharing this one today because I got an email telling me about the social media aspect of it, and to consider, anything that you post on social media on your church's behalf, think of it as a forever message out there. So whatever, it's just another warning or cautionary tale, like be careful, because even in social media, you could potentially put your organization at risk to not being a nonprofit anymore if you're getting too political. And then the only other piece that I want to share, even guidance about copyright images. How do you know if you can use this art image or that image? Places to look, like Creative Commons. Just a lot of great information on TechSoup.org. And they do also have excellent training resources. And some of those training resources are available on our content calendar and the communications training. If you scroll through this stuff, some of the trainings that we highlight in here are from TechSoup.org. Some are free and some are paid, but it's never going to be like a $1,500 training or a $700 training. And if you subscribe to TechSoup.org's newsletter, you'll get a notification about when they have a free training for XYZ. All right, so the other part that I want to call attention to on the content calendar today is under communications. If you scroll all the way to the right to the column, there's the People of God campaign. I went ahead and clicked on it so I wouldn't have a delay, but the link here will take you directly to this page. So you might have seen some images like this from where it's a black and white and really bold letters, and they actually highlight different aspects, different points, I guess, I don't know. So they've got guidelines on how to use the People of God campaign, talks about it here, and it does come in other languages. Here's the usage guide, click on that to find out more. And then when you're ready, you can download the graphics and it's gonna take you to a Dropbox. This one is talking about the March ones, which this one, what is March? March was committed, I guess, committed people of God. It's different messaging for each month, but you have access to any of them, to all of them, and just download them if you're looking for content, really great looking graphics for your social media or a newsletter. Maybe it's a sermon series where you can relate these graphics to. It's all available from Resource UMC, and it's linked directly on the content calendar under communications and then the UMCOM column. Okay, the other one that I wanted to show you is, where is it? There it is. There's also, okay, so at the very top, row 4, again under UMCOM, it's graphics and training opportunities. I've got it under annual conference. It doesn't make sense, but that's the purpose of them sharing it for us. Normally, if we would have had annual conference in person, we would have had resources that we could distribute to churches. And so this is what United Methodist Communications put together for our churches for the 2020 annual conference. Since ours was online, it was way more condensed, so we couldn't share all of this, but you might have seen some of the end racism graphics that were available. So all of this is available to our Desert Southwest Conference churches. Here's the trainings that they're highlighting. Some other graphics, like right now we're in the, oh, this is, sorry, I thought that was the Hispanic Ministries one. But anyway, so, and it explains a little bit about it. This is all about a stewardship campaign. There's some great videos relevant to what's going on right now that are available. So check it out. This is all on the content calendar, row 4 for annual conference under UMCOM. Okay, then the other piece I want to show you is under coronavirus. So the DSC UMC resource right now on the COVID-19 response, and I'm actually going to talk to you about 2 different things. So that one links directly to this page. And if you were on our Desert Southwest Conference website, you'd get there by, oh, I shouldn't have done that. There we go. Going here to the COVID-19 response. I'll go back to that page. There we go. What I wanted to highlight for you is that we just added today this coronavirus anxiety workbook, and it's published by the Wellness Society, and it's available copyright free. So your church could use this. We're offering it completely here for you to download. But my understanding is we're actually allowed, churches included, allowed to use parts of it, use the whole thing, however you want to use it. It's a great workbook, great resource. The only thing that is required as far as copyright goes is to both do the attribution, which is saying who actually created it, and include their URL. Both are included in, if I open up the workbook, you'll see that it's actually in the footer, but there it is, the Wellness Society and wellnesssociety.org. But because at the very bottom, they also give instructions about how you can share it, I figured I better follow those instructions. So be sure to give them credit if you decide to use this resource. And then the other piece I wanted to highlight for you guys is there are some updates on the church reopening site. And as the communicator, you're probably not involved in that process. Maybe you have to announce stuff or whatever. But again, as a communicator, I'm looking to you to call attention to this, to those people that do work on your reopening plan. Let them know that this page has been updated, and the updates aren't really changing any rules. It's just making sure that if we offered guidance on singing in phase 1, we're making sure that we're addressing that in phase 2 and phase 3. And the other, sorry if I'm getting you dizzy, the big deal that I want to point out for you is the reopen phases chart. So this one, it's a great little one-page tool. It's reflecting everything that's on that site. So you can print this out, share it with your team leaders, and they can easily keep it in their clipboard, whatever, to make sure that they're doing everything right for whatever phase we are in. Okay, that was it for the resources that I wanted to share with you. I do have some reminders, but do you guys have any questions at this point about any of the parts that I've shared? Oh, no. I just saw that I hadn't admitted Ron Black. Sorry.
I have a question about something that you mentioned that's not communications, but
okay.
Does anybody know, you know those plexiglass drum shields?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If we use a plexiglass shield in front of us, does anybody know, can we sing then?
Any Bishop?
So, Holly, this is still up for grabs. We have some evidence that it's helpful, some that it's not. There's a lot of evidence that says we're still not sure. What I would suggest is that it does depend on how far you are, even with a shield. So even though you have a shield, that in and of itself is not adequate. So what I would suggest is, you're talking about like a soloist or a group?
Or a 4-part praise team, because we have, yeah.
There is a church that is an experiment for us that is separating by plexiglass, I think a quartet or something, but they're also increasing the distance.
Yeah.
We are concerned about the evidence that it does spread and farther than 6 feet. So I would suggest you have your church contact your superintendent and discuss this further. Yeah.
Okay, good, thanks.
Still up for grabs.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sarah.
So earlier you were showing that site that had image information on TechSoup. I wanted to ask if anybody like buys subscriptions to images or has a good source. I mean, I spend hours trying to look for what appears to be non-copyrighted pictures to use for free. And sometimes I don't have hours. And so I just wondered if anybody had any hints or anything on that.
I love Pixabay.
Is it free or is it?
So Sarah, David added Unsplash in the chat. I just added Pixabay, and who was it that mentioned that? Holly?
Yes. Pixabay is free and you can adapt it. You don't need to attribute anything, and they've got a gajillion images.
I'm going to share my screen real quick just so you guys can see Pixabay. I do want to warn you, not just about Pixabay. Did I share the right one? Can you guys see the Pixabay site?
No.
No. Okay, let me do this again. Okay, I guess I'll just have to share my whole desktop. Make it bigger. There we go. Now do you see it? Okay. So yeah, I use Pixabay. Our district superintendents use it. It's, nice, easy search. So let's look for something. Oh, coffee, since today is National Coffee Day. So just be careful that all of the images on this page are not copyright free. These top ones, see where it says sponsored images? Any that you click on here are going to take you to paid sites for downloading. So that's really it. Outside of that, you can click on any one of these and you can see that I haven't logged in, and you can see the license information there. So just always confirm no matter where you're going, because again here I found this one, this is the one I love, but maybe I decided, oh, plus I'd like to add that one. Well, here again, these are not from Pixabay. These are sponsored images by iStock. So just be really, really careful that you really are downloading copyright-free images.
I also, anytime I use a Pixabay image, I just for my own sake, note the source so that if I'm ever challenged, I can prove that the Pixabay site says I can do that.
Great idea. And it helps to be able to find that image again. So like, I know for me, sometimes I've used one image for a social media graphic or a Facebook header or an article, and then next thing you know, oh yeah, I need to also create now a webinar graphic for it, and I want to keep all my branding the same. So if I didn't save the URL for that image, now I'm having to search for it again. So it's a good idea to do that. Include it in your metadata or the image description if you're loading it into your website. Mashable.com. Do you want to tell us about that, Angie?
That's a link to a website that's got like a top 10 free image place where you can go. If you click on it, it's an article that like shows you, and it has Pixabay in there as well as several other places you can go.
Awesome, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so while you guys are thinking about any other graphics sites that you want to share, oh my goodness, there's one that I'll share in a second. I don't want to forget to share the reminders of the upcoming events, which is 21-day Racial Equity Habit Building Challenge. It begins on October 1st if you're going to join the DSC Race Coalition. So that's when we'll have the resources available on the dsc-race.org site. I'm going to add the event. Actually, I'll just copy this whole thing. I'm going to do the whole thing. Copy. There we go. All right, so those are the 3 events that I wanted to bring to your attention. The DSC race, make sure you register for all of these items. Sarah, go ahead. What's your question?
I just wanted to mention on their website, a lot of the articles they take you to, you have to have subscriptions for. And so I ended up creating sort of my own off of other things, kind of replacing them. But just don't wait till the last minute to kind of explore that. We did ours in the month of September, and so in getting ready for it, that was one of the things that I discovered. And so I wanted to make it as simple as possible for our people. So we just ended up kind of cutting and pasting and creating our own so that they wouldn't have to go to links that they had to fuss with.
Is that for the 21-day racial equity thing? Okay, yeah. Yeah, so some of you might not have seen the resources yet. Check in with your pastor. They would have received it by now, actually a second time. And on October 1st, we'll open up those resources for everyone to have available. And so that's where you would find out about the different, so it starts on October 1st, and the way it starts is maybe some instructions on an article to read, a video to watch. And I think the first week, I confess I don't know it intimately, so I know that there are certain times where they're actually guiding you to use this particular article or video. And then at the end of the week, the group will meet on Zoom to talk about it. Other weeks, there's options of what you could, if you want to read these articles or if you want to watch these videos, and then still at the end of the week, everybody will gather online and talk about their experience and all that. So that's a great idea, Sarah. I mean, the way that it's put together by the DSC Race Coalition, it's not the end all be all final way to use it. And if you have questions or want to confirm that the way you're gonna modify it or just offer these pieces, is this okay? Will this work? Be sure to check out the DSC Race Coalition on Facebook because the coalition leaders are managing that group, and that's the way that they want to be able to stay in touch and communicate with you guys and be available whenever you need them. So, all right, and then in case any of you weren't here last week when we talked about the Real Talk with Miguel de la Torre, It looks like it's a book study, and he is the author of this book. Sorry, I don't remember the name of it. But you don't have to read it to participate in this online conversation. So if you're sharing information about it, be sure that your members know, or community knows, that you don't have to buy the book. You don't have to read the book. But if you're interested, join the event. The YouTube training series by Glade Kinniston, that starts on October 14th. It's a 3-week series. You don't have to participate in all 3. You know, I encourage you to watch them. We will record them, so they will be available online on the conference website. Yeah, so that's all I had to share. Let's go ahead and start doing a round robin. I'm going to look for that link to the UMC Digital Assets Library, so that in case you guys don't have that, that's another great resource for free images of United Methodist people in ministry. All right, so Misty, you happen to be the first person at the very top left of my Zoom screen. So if you don't mind introducing yourself, saying what church you're from, and if you want to share something communication-wise, and then select the next person. And we'll go through those till everybody's all done.
I'm at Spirit Song United Methodist Fellowship in Peoria, Arizona, on the northwest side of Peoria. And I don't really know what kind of communications things to share. I guess right now I'm exploring a communications calendar and just making sure that we have something that we are communicating with our people daily on Facebook. And then we also send out emails, phone calls, things like that on a regular basis to keep people connected. So just trying to keep track of our congregation. And do I get to choose someone to go next? Or are you going to? Okay. Let's go ahead and do Kim Kelly.
Hi, everybody. Kim Kelly from Desert Mission United Methodist Church up in Scottsdale. And I guess in terms of our communications, the newer things, we have a newsletter that goes out each week. We have started adding some of the news onto our website each week as well. And we have a group that has been meeting weekly to discuss how to keep everybody, reaching out to everybody really, and making sure that people who are not on the services each week or in the fellowship groups after each service know that we're still thinking about them. So that's it. I guess I'll move on to Sarah Allen.
Hi, I'm the pastor at Payson UMC, and I guess the most important thing that we've done differently just a few weeks ago is we bought Wondershare Philomora 9 and are doing our sermons and my short videos by using Zoom and then recording on Zoom, pasting into that, and it's made editing just a whiz. So if you're doing any kind of short video work or even sermon, you know, we're doing our whole sermon recorded. We have very lousy internet up here, and so it's much easier to do recordings than try to do Facebook Live. Also now what I've heard is that Facebook is limiting or eliminating music on Facebook Live. And so if that's been a problem for you, you may want to consider that. It's not horribly expensive. I think it was $130 a year or something like that. But it's really a fairly easy tool to use. We've been dumping in pictures, videos, all kinds of things, and cutting and splicing the cream. David.
Guess that's me. There also are free video editing softwares out there. There's this one real powerful one that I can't quite pull out of my head right now. I was just trying to Google it real fast, but I'll throw it in the chat later. But what we're doing, we're right now, what's going on at our church communications wise is that we're scrambling to figure out what getting back into our physical space is going to look like. And I'm sure other people are scrambling with that too. And then how that's going to affect our current online worship, and it won't really affect our other types of outreach that we're doing, like Jody, my pastor wife, is doing lots on Zoom. So yay for the wonderful Zoom accounts. That's a lifesaver. And for example, and even some of it, she'll take a recording. If she didn't cloud record it, she'll take it off her computer, and if it doesn't need editing, I just upload it to our YouTube channel, and I can do it instead of just tossing that all up there, helter-skelter, willy-nilly. Sometimes we make it an unlisted link that can then just be shared with a particular cohort or constituency. Way of making it accessible for people who might have missed. So we're just still figuring it out as we go along, and we're really worried about bad internet. Like even Sarah, you're not the only one. even down here in the valley, out in Queen Creek, our property is kind of isolated. It doesn't have fiber or cable, and so our internet is just so weak. So we're trying to figure out we think we might have to go buy like a Verizon phone and dedicate that to the church for our live streaming stuff, because we've tried a bunch of other things. So anyway, that's what's going on with us, of finding solutions, and we are very appreciative of all the sharing that goes on. And I get calls and emails and stuff to share what we know and what we're doing. And so this is the way to do it, is just by connecting and sharing. Oh, Chris, have you gone? Chris Kroger?
Hi, I'm Chris Krager. I am the Marketing and Communications Manager at Dayspring UMC in Tempe. And South Tempe has horrible internet too, so I feel all of your pain. One of the things I posted in the chat, I do a lot of graphic design work, and I really like PicMonkey. It's picmonkey.com. It's super user-friendly. You have to pay for, there is a free, but I use the sort of the base account. I want to say it's like $35 a year. It's not crazy expensive. It's an online platform. It's got cloud-based hosting, so you can keep all of your graphic designs in the cloud. And they've got a really robust photo library as well that's free, at least at the level that I'm at. So just wanted to make sure y'all knew about that. And the nice thing there is that you can take the photos and adapt them to however you need. So that's all I have. Let's see. Jim.
Me?
I'm sorry, there are two. There's, how about Jim Truscott?
Yes. I'm Jim Truscott. I'm with Mission Bell United Methodist Church in Glendale. I was laughing at some of the problems with internet connectivity because we have the same problem. We are in a little bubble type of thing where we can't get really good service, so we're having to work very diligently around that at the church. But we're very fortunate. So many of our people are computer people, and they've been able to piece together something mainly with YouTube, Facebook, and so forth. So we're doing that for ours. We're getting more and more into Zoom for our meetings and everything else. We have a real interesting planning session coming up next week for our holiday planning. And we thought that that was a good way to, hoping that we'll be able to be open, but if not, we'll at least have some way of reaching out to people that way. So that's what I'm working on right at the moment. I'm a retired computer engineer, so it kind of falls into my backyard a lot of times. Okay, let's do Jimmy now.
Okay, hi. I'm Jimmy Nelson. I'm the televangelist for Church of the Good Shepherd up here in Kearney, Arizona. We have reasonable internet. I'm not going to scream about it. Chris, what was the name of that site you said again?
It's called picmonkey.com. It's PICMONKEY.
Okay, well, I've got two things. The first thing is we had our weekly or our monthly discussion in the district, and one thing we got onto was copyright license. And if you haven't, I suggest that you call CCLI and talk with them for a minute or two, because one of the things that came up is I play guitar and sing, and I do videos for the church. And one of the pastors said, gee, if I liked your video, could I have it? No. That video, let's say it's a public domain song like, oh, How Great Thou Art or something. Even though it's public domain, the permission to use it, any song actually, is for that one streaming event. Now, if I want to use it in the next streaming event, I can, but I can't give it to any other church to use, which I thought was interesting. So we had quite a long discussion, and some of the nuances on copyright law are, man, they're tough. They're tough. So with that, I have a second question for David. Unmute yourself. We've been streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and I had a guy in here and he was doing a great job. He was using OBS Studio, and things were going along real good. And then I made the mistake of marrying them. And now he can't work because he works 6 days a week. He can't come in Sunday and run the software. And OBS is way more complex than I want to get into. What's a nice, easy stream I can get into with this? What would be your suggestion I use?
Do you have any iDevices like iPhones or iPads?
Well, yeah, we're running off the computer here. We've invested the money. I mean, we
okay.
have a studio here now, and the value of being online and on Facebook, I can see the value in it for our church. So what I want to do is we're going to record the 9 o'clock service and rebroadcast it at 11 at the internet, on the internet, so people can see it. They can't get in or homebound or whatever. So I need something that's pretty simple.
Yeah, so I've not encountered that, and so I'd have to do a little research.
Okay.
I know there are alternatives to OBS. A lot of people use it because it's free and very powerful, but I also know that it has a learning curve. Yeah, for everybody here, OBS is just an open source broadcasting software that can be installed on PCs and used to live stream. So Jimmy, I'm gonna have to pass this to somebody else, because right now we don't have a camera that we can hook into our computer currently, and so that's not something we've been looking at. But for those who have nice camera setups hooked into computers, there are a lot of cloud-based streaming services that you can connect with that. So like Restream is one, it's called, and there's others that will stream to multiple platforms, but I'm not an expert on that because I haven't used them.
Okay, thank you.
Not an expert here either, and my worship team does most of the work, but we use StreamYard. StreamYard. We do pay a monthly fee, $35 a month for it, but it seems to be easy to work for my worship team. I think I could take it over if I needed to.
Okay.
Do you connect a computer and camera to StreamYard?
Yes.
Okay. I'll check and I'll look in on that. Thank you.
What's nice about StreamYard too, just really quick, is that we get multiple people involved from their different houses. So I'm, of course, here at my own house, streaming the sermon and announcements and whatever I need to. We have someone else who reads scripture, a lay person from our church, from their house. And then our praise band, who's one big family, they are able to do their thing in their house. And so we are all able to put all of those together and stream.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it works out well for us.
Thanks, Misty. So Jimmy, do you want to pick someone to go next?
Yeah, that's what involved I'm doing this year. Who haven't we done yet? I'm looking.
While you're picking, I
Holly,
want to put,
go.
oh, perfect. There you go.
We are having wonderful Sunday morning worship at Crossroads through Zoom. A lot more is now unmuted. So we pray together, and after church, we always have a discussion together, and it feels like we're really connected when you can hear, oh, Jim's back, he's better, and oh, I hear Ellen's voice. And so it's been really good. And I think that we're going to continue online even after we go back. We're also looking into how to communicate with our neighbors, because I think a lot of people are going to feel thankful once the crisis has passed a little farther on, and might want to drop into church for a new experience. So we're excited about new opportunities. Tempe First, have you guys shared?
Okay, no, not yet. My name is Cassie, and I'm at Tempe First. And I apologize. We have a very unique situation because we're located on the ASU's campus, and so we have a lot of students and homeless. We're also the only soup kitchen barely running on in Tempe, and so because of COVID. So we have a lot of donations that are dropped off. Communication wise, we also use StreamYard. It has been extremely successful. We did try 2 others. They were extremely complicated. And my husband's an IT director, and he actually, we're not members of Tempe First, but he got involved and tried to help out because it was so extremely complicated when we first started. One of the things that I think that we have it's in the works is, and we're extremely excited about it, is that we are also doing the people reading the scripture from their homes, able to upload it into the sermon. But one of the things we're extremely excited about is that we're asking members to video themselves for like 5 minutes, just a short answer of how Tempe First has impacted their lives, how the Methodist Church has impacted their lives and made their lives better. And everybody is so excited about this because, again, they want to be able to see themselves on YouTube. They want to share this with their families. We have only done it, I think, once or twice so far. It's been extremely successful. And it's also, we have I would say 75% elderly population, where 25% students, and it is connecting the two, where we have people reaching out and either showing them or emailing them or calling them, and and explaining how to get online, how to do the video. It's been very successful so far, and that has been something brand new, and enabled to people to do this in their own homes and feel a part. I think the biggest thing that has that we have noticed, because we have been doing the email blast, we do almost daily devotionals, and we do a Zoom coffee with the pastor every Saturday morning, in addition to worship service on Zoom every Sunday. But one of the things I've noticed that has really hit home is that I print out my email blast that I send out to 350 people every week, and send that to our homebound, a few that don't have internet. I also write a handwritten note to them every week. Sometimes it's only about 30 people, and it's a very short note. But sometimes the pastors are including notes in there also. Just to let them know that, they are loved if they need anything. We do have our phone trees that we've been doing all along, but I have noticed that the handwritten notes, I've been getting some emails from a couple of them that it really made their day. It's just a little tiny little blurb, you know, on the email blast. And that has really made it all worth it to go the extra mile to reach out to the homebound that, you know, that don't have the internet, that, you know, are cherishing that little piece of paper or that that crossword puzzle that, you know, we included. You know, it's just the little things that we've been doing. But, you know, we also do the big things every day. So, but I've just been noticing the little things have been really hitting home lately. So, because people are really wanting that connection. Oh, I need to pick somebody. Has Sarah already gone? Oh, Sarah's already gone. Okay. I'm gonna try.
The bishop.
Oh, okay. So do I get to pick the bishop? Is that an option? Who's left, Christina?
It's Angie Ralston, I think, hasn't gone, and
Okay.
Fred hasn't gone yet.
Oh, okay. So I'll pick Angie, but I do have a quick question really quick. Because I was late because we had a huge donation right at 10 o'clock for our homeless. We the resource that you were talking about for free pictures that's on the district website, can you send me a link to that? I'm not finding it. You were talking about how it was on the calendar. I'm just not seeing it. And I came in at the very end of you discussing that. So
For the content calendar, is that what you're talking about?
Well, you said there were resources, UMC resources for through free pictures for that we could
yes.
use.
Okay, so I don't know that I have that one directly linked on the content calendar, but I did just, I added it in chat. And everybody, if you didn't know this, you don't have to jot down what's in chat or copy and paste. Just below the chat window where you see the blue everyone button, just to the right of that, there's a tiny little square with 3 white dots. If you click on those 3 white dots, you'll see an option to save the chat. It'll download the chat file on, you know, wherever your file folder normally goes to, maybe downloads or whatever. But yeah, select that. If we were to have done this at the very beginning, I think that what happens is it only saves the chat up to that point. So we've been sharing a lot of great links. And as people mention stuff, others have, sometimes me, sometimes others have added it to the chat. So I, you know, be sure to click on those 3 little white buttons and save the chat. Some of this stuff though, I'm also going to be emailing pretty close, I think it's in a couple of days. On October 1st, I'll be sending out another communications resources email, and I'll include a lot of these links that we've talked about. Occasionally I miss some, but you'll definitely get a lot of stuff via email, so that there's that too. All right, so who were you gonna pick next?
Angie.
Angie, okay. Let's see, Angie, you ready to talk? Do you have your, I noticed you hadn't, oops, I tried to unmute Bishop Bob instead. There we go. She might not have a microphone available, so let's go with Fred.
Okay.
What's going on in your church world with communications?
We were doing live streaming before this started because we were doing live stream to start satellite sites from Vista Church up Northwest San Manuel, Mammoth, things like that. So we had a very, very steep learning curve before this started. But we've learned a lot because we never stopped live streaming. We just continued on what we were doing, except we got better at it. But we are on 5 platforms now. Our website, on Boxcast. We bought a channel on Boxcast. $600 a year for that. We're on Fire TV, Facebook, and recently we've started doing with YouTube. We didn't start Facebook until after this started. So we have about 300 to 400 sites watching us. I'm not sure how many people that is. It's bigger than our membership though, which is amazing to me. To keep in touch, we do email blasts, our monthly newsletter, letters. One of the things we found that has tremendously helped our giving is every 4 weeks we send out a letter and self-addressed stamped envelopes. We have them made up, and the money just comes back in. We have been amazed at the response to that. And then we also, I have put up, you know, you can go to our website and donate and stuff, but our giving during this time has not fallen off at all. Those are some of the things we do a lot. We've got about 6 or 7 Zoom Bible studies now, and we're in a very unique place. And I'll tell you about internet connection, something that might help some of us. I'm about a half mile from the main highway, and we're surrounded by cattle country. And yesterday I was doing a Bible study, and I heard a cattle walked across in front of my window during the middle of the Bible study. So it's a pretty unique place. But the remoteness of this, we are connected. We used to do it over the air. We paid a company to have internet connection out here. But now this is an old missile base, and there was a 16 pair. No, it was more than that. It's 32 pairs, so 64 lines, copper lines from here to the road. And so we went through CenturyLink, and I don't know exactly what we actually literally had a rocket scientist help put this together. But anyway, all the internet out and in comes across old telephone lines, and it's pretty reliable. Once we had one of the copper pairs, one of the lines broke, so we had to switch to another one. But when you have 64 to pick from, it's easy to go from one to another. But if you have just simply copper line to your facility, because I think right now we're using I think 8 pair or 7 pair. I don't know. It's been a while since I did it, but it's a unique system to connect. So those are some of the things we're doing here. So, oh, and one thing is every 2 weeks we try and call everybody in the congregation just to see how they're doing. So, got a group of our people that do it. Our church council. They originally started doing that. So that's how we're keeping in touch up here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. You know, in this sharing, that's how we find out what's working. Some really cool ideas for other software to use. Or, I mean, I love the idea of the handwritten notes. Hadn't even heard of that, but geez Louise, we used to all do that once upon a time. And now it's like, wow, that's really unique. Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
We ended up asking our United Methodist Women's group, so they each took a page out of our church directory, and then once every about 6 weeks they switch pages, and so that's worked fabulously.
Great idea. Go ahead, Kim.
One thing, we tried to get people involved in the newsletter, sending pictures in of themselves, and it was challenging. A lot of people wouldn't contribute, but then someone suggested pictures with their pets. And boy, did everybody start sending pictures in. So just a thought.
Another good idea. Go ahead, Holly.
We have done pictures on our, when we do the passing of the peace on Zoom, we've asked for pictures and we've had great response. And we had the most fun when we asked for their baby pictures. So there are various ways to show our congregation on Zoom.
Great idea. And you know, somebody had shared, I think it was from Tempe First, about having people spotlight or sharing their little moment, their story on their YouTube video for the church. And that encourages them to want to share it with their family and friends. I mean, number one, it's showing our community, and it's valuing our our members, but it also ends up being a great little communications marketing thing, because now they've got a reason to want to share it. It's valuable to them to keep telling people about it. Oh, you got to check out my church's video. So that's pretty great. Go ahead. Sorry, from Tempe First UMC.
Going back to what Christina was saying is that the avalanche that's happened since we started doing that with doing a spotlight on a different person every week was that it was getting shared by every person on that person's, friend group on Facebook, where, we couldn't have even hired somebody to do that. And so, so that has been free marketing that, and also asking people in the community to sing or do a piano solo. Now, again, we're very unique that we are on ASU's campus, and we have a lot of students that, hey, would you like to, join Wesley? Would you like to, do a piano solo or a cello solo or a violin solo, and upload it and choose a spiritual piece? It has been amazing to include people in the community and also introduce them to our church. And we've gained a lot of, I think it's like 4 or 5 different Wesley kids, ASU students that have joined recently because of invitation. We also have a breezeway in our walkway here. Again, we're on ASU's campus that gives you Zoom links to all of our Zoom devotionals, worship, Wesley activities. And so I wanted to comment. I was wondering, wasn't there someone that had that's doing satellite internet? Because we've been trying to get Cox dug into our location for 9 months now, and literally it's been since November. Yeah. And was there someone else that's doing satellite internet?
I don't know that I heard anybody share about that, but that's a great question. I'll mark that. And we're actually at 11:01 a.m. I hate to end this conversation, but you guys join us next week, 10 o'clock in the morning. If you have something to share, email me. We'll include that right at the beginning. We can also add stuff on the Facebook post as soon as I share this video on the DSC communication site. Start thinking now. Number 1, what did you not get to share? Number 2, what do you need? What can we do to make our jobs easier? Somebody's got the answer. And if we don't have the answer, then at least we know that's where we need to be investing our time and looking into that. Bishop Bob, I'm so sorry you didn't get a chance to share. You're good? All right. Then blessings, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
Bye.